Hi everyone, Annette Kessler here with the new video tutorial, and today I want to show you one page of this amazing interactive pop-up mini album. This is by far the most comprehensive and I think amazing mini album I have ever made, and it has lots of, well, all the pages are interactive pop-up mechanism pages, and they are much easier to do than you think. So I just wanted to share this amazing mini album with you and show you how it looks when it's finished. And if you watch all the video, in the end I'm going to share with you how you can make this amazing mini album from start to finish, including the cover and all these amazing pop-up pages that have lots of room for photos and journaling. So today I'm going to show you how to make this one page from the mini album. Take the 8 1/4 by 8 3/4 page and score it on 8 1/4, and then fold it and attach it to our other 8 1/4 by 8 1/4 black cardstock square. Like always, you have all the measurements in the cutting guide and written instructions that you can download. And let's glue them together. This is our page, our base. And we're going to make a really fun pop-up page today. Let's put that aside. And we will continue with creating our pop-up mechanism. So we have our second black cardstock, or whatever cardstock you're using. It's 12 by 8. And we're going to put it lengthwise while the 8 side is on the top. And we're going to create 2 slits. And we're going to start to cut the cardstock not from the edge, but from 1/4 of an inch. And then we're going to go all the way down until 1/4 of an inch from the bottom edge. So this is our first slit, and we're going to do that on the 2 3/4 line. We're going to align our cardstock with 2 3/4 and then cut from 1/4 of an inch on the top to 1/4 of an inch on the bottom. And we're going to repeat that on 5 1/4. Again, cutting from 1/4 of an inch from the edge, from the bottom or top edge, all the way to 1/4 of an inch from the other edge. So we're going to have 2 slits in the center of our page that don't go all the way to the edge. That's very important, like this. See? And now we can go ahead and score our page. We're going to align it while the 12 inches edge is facing the top of our trimmer or our cutting board. And then we're going to align it with 3 and then score it, and then at 6, and then finally just make sure that it doesn't move, and then finally at 9. So we're basically making squares on our black cardstock. Now we're going to score between the 2 cut lines in the center while aligning our cardstock a 1/4 of an inch. So basically we're just making a fold line from where the cuts start, which is 1/4 of an inch from the edge, and only in the center, in between the 2 cut lines. So these are all our score lines. You have a diagram also that you can watch and see where exactly are the score lines and where the cut lines. Now we're going to fold our cardstock in an accordion shape. That means that we're changing the direction of the fold to resemble a W. Actually, I'm going to switch the directions. Doesn't really matter. It's just that I want to make sure that I'm doing it correctly. So you basically end up with a W like this, or an M. And then you need to burnish your folds really well. And then you need to fold that little score line that we did between the two cut lines in the center. Only that score line. That will be sort of a little tab that will help us glue the mechanism to the page. And you do that on the other side as well. Now we need to reverse our direction of the folds on the top and on the bottom. So each fold, if that was a mountain, it will be a valley, and if it's a valley, then it becomes a mountain, only on the top and the bottom. So we're going to have something that looks like this. Just make sure that you fold them all in the right direction, like this. This is what you should have after all the folds are in the right direction. That will ensure that it moves as it should. So this is our pop-up mechanism. You can cover it with the cover papers at this point, but I like to attach it to our page first and then add the cover papers. So we're going to start with our left side. Apply glue on the bottom of the top and bottom squares, and that little tab that we made on the edge, if you remember. This is going to be attached to the left side of our page while it's open, of course, like this. So we're going to attach it, and we're going to align that square on the left side with the edge, with the left edge, and we're going to align it about an inch or an inch and a half from the edge. We don't want it to be popping out of the edge. And then we're going to apply glue to the bottom of the top and bottom squares on the other side, including that little tab. And what we're going to do is simply close the page, and that will ensure that the mechanism is positioned correctly. And when we open it, just make sure it's burnished well and let it dry for a few seconds so it will work properly. And that's how it works. If you see that those 3 rows don't work properly, it might be because they are too close to each other. So you might want to just cut them very slightly, make them narrower by less than 1/16 of an inch, just to make sure that they don't brush against each other and interfere with the movement. So basically this is our mechanism. It's really cool. You need to print or cut photos to size, because these are 8 photos that are smaller than the usual size. And the next thing I'm doing is just covering my page with all the cover papers. And I remind you that I usually or always cover my page with cover papers instead of photos, but other than the pieces that are not on the pop-up mechanism, all the other squares are photos, intended for photos. So instead of using paper, of course you can use paper if you want to, but if you want to fill your mini album with photos, then this is where the photos go. I just put papers to show you how it looks. So basically all the space where I put the dotted paper is for cover papers, and the others are for the photos. Of course, by the way, if you want, you can add photos to where I'm putting the dotted paper as well. It's basically free space that you can still add papers to, photos to. And I remind you that all the measurements are in the cutting guide that you can download, and it's always a good idea to cut all your pieces in advance. So basically I'm finishing with covering all my squares, and this is our page. It's always a good idea to open and close it a little bit, work it so the mechanism will work properly. Still needs a little bit of help to move. Isn't that cool? Really like this page. So if you want to make this mini album with all the interactive pop-up pages, then there is a link in the description under the video that you can go ahead and sign up to make this mini album. Also, please don't forget to subscribe to my channel and click on the little bell icon to be notified when I upload a new video, so you won't miss anything and you'll be able to follow all the tutorials and make all the projects. So don't forget to go ahead and check out that link for the tutorials to make this amazing interactive pop-up mini album. And don't worry, I will take you step by step through all of it to make this amazing mini album. You can do it. It's much easier than you think. It has an amazing effect, but it's actually pretty easy to do. You just need to follow the steps that I will show you, and you'll be able to have such an amazing mini album as well. It's great to give as a gift. It fits a lot of photos that you can insert, and everybody will wow at this mini album. So the link for all the tutorials is in the description under the video. Thank you very much for joining me, and I will see you next time.